I don't know if it's gonna work for me. Let's see. Why won't you show up on my... It doesn't want to show up, but it says we're live. So maybe we are. Maybe we aren't. I don't know if we are live or if we're not. I can't get me live on here. That's the problem. I want to watch the trailer. I want to go backwards. It says it's working. Everybody's showing up. But I can't find me here. How am I supposed to know it's working? Oh, bingo. 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 Maybe that's working. Yeah, now we know we're working. I never know. What's up, Southern California? You are live from Colorado. I am live from Colorado. This morning was not a good day. I walked in my freaking office here to dog crap on my keyboard. Not even lying. Crazy weekend, but a good one. We, if you didn't know, we were out at the location of Colorado Crime Con, getting details worked out, having a little party out there. That was fun. Yesterday we took the day off, which was nice. Take a Monday off, maybe go hoodie concept here. And today, I don't even have my, oh, yes I do. Have my phone right here because I wanted to call a few people this morning and see if we can get any info on Gypsy's case. Pretty sure we're not going to get through, but if we do, it'll be good. If not, we will continue. They had a scheduled prayer vigil for Gypsy on the 5th, but I think they changed that to the 25th now because of the weather. We had this freaking snowstorm come in, but that could change tomorrow, so I'm not 100% sure why they changed the date, but no worries. It's been 41 days since Gypsy went missing, and there's been no police update, and they haven't done any police press conferences. The cops have made very few statements to people. If you want to call in, you can call in. We're going to make some phone calls here in a second, but first we're going to try to get things in order here. I got crap all over the place here. See if we can line this out a little order here so I don't have to... See, I'm just knocking crap all over. Watch out. Take one day off and you lose it all. I'm going to pull the detective's number here real quick. I guess I should save that crap in my phone. I haven't done that yet. There it is. This is Detective Lee of the Colorado Springs Police Department. We're going to call him up right now and see if we can get any sort of update on Gypsy's case. We left a message last week, but we didn't get a response. Sometimes they probably got me saved in his phone now.
Hello, this is Detective Lee. I'm sorry I missed your call. Please leave your name and a good contact phone number, and I'll call you back as fast as I can. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Detective Lee, this is Michael Dalton in Colorado. I was calling about Gypsy's case. Hadn't heard anything on the news, hadn't heard any updates from law enforcement, and we are still looking into this case and trying to see if if we can get some information just on how you guys are looking at it, if you're looking at it as a missing persons case, if you're looking at it as a homicide case. Just trying to get some info. We haven't heard anything. It's been over 41 days now, and the family's worried, the public's worried, and we're just calling to see if we could get an update from you. You can give me a call back at 719-377-0343. Thanks for taking my message. So there's that one. We'll see if I doubt we'll get any response. It's frustrating when they're not giving us any updates. They haven't done a press conference. They haven't told us how they're looking at this case. But we got to stay on them. Otherwise, they're just going to open minds coming to Colorado. What are you coming to Colorado for? Oh, it's frustrating. Create content. CSP. D. Done. Yeah, it's a little frustrating when it comes to cases like this. It's not that I expect them to just, tell us people keep saying they don't give any updates on open investigations, and that's just not the truth. They update open investigations all the time, even if it's just to ask for the public's help, and that's something they haven't done at all. Now, I know it's been 41 days since Gypsy went missing, since she was last contacted. How long does she have to be missing to start actively investigating this as more than just a missing persons case? I don't know where they're at in their investigation. I don't know if there hasn't been any sort of press about arrests made. There hasn't been any sort of press about, active investigations. All they have said is nothing. That's all they have said is nothing. And so it gets frustrating when the public is it's not like we're not asking. I mean, we contacted Colorado Springs Police Department, FBI, CBI last week. This week we've started with CBI. We haven't had any response. What if I had information? What if I had updates? What if I had some sort of information? You would think they would at least call back and try to speak with me, but what's up, Jay? What you been up to this morning? Hosting some crazy watch parties with some people out of somewhere. I love watching people's live videos, especially when they're looking into cases we can't look into here. So it's been wild. It is white outside here. Snow's not coming down anymore, but it is definitely a whiteout in the in the Colorado area. Who just texted me? They text me and want to know, have I heard anything about the long case out of Bailey? I haven't looked in it, except that they did release a sketch not too long ago. That's the Maggie Long case out of Bailey. Hi Jay, just sent you an email. There you go. Who's your daddy? Texas woman says. A lot of people on Facebook are scheduling a prayer vigil. I believe they moved it to the 25th, which would be a Saturday. And maybe I could be just wrong too. If you look on Gypsy's Missing Gypsy's page, then you'll see the prayer vigil that was listed. I thought they were doing it this Sunday, but they had obviously moved it, so we'll see if it ends up moving again. If you are just joining, a lot of people I had the somebody at Woodland Park asked me today about the Gypsy case. They hadn't heard anything about it, is because nobody said anything about it, and these are local people in Colorado. And so if we just called CSPD to try to get an update, but no updates have been given. The news hasn't done really any updates lately. I think the last update that went out was on the 21st of April, and it was put out by some I don't have anything on the agenda. I was going to, but it's freaking cold out. All I want to do is curl back up in bed and go to bed. We got about 2 inches of snow last night and so forth. I probably ought to do some actual work. I got a couple of videos I need to edit, but I figure I'd go live, take some phone calls, update people about Gypsy's case for what we have, but we really don't have much. So it's not like I'm really talking about anything. But I watched a little bit of that crazy trial. Did they they found her guilty? I saw that. That was it took less than a week. She didn't even say how many words did she say in the entire trial? I think she said less words than Patrick has said. I know my way. You saw, because the other day we were out in Florissant, beautiful weather, no snow, perfect sun, everything. And then a few days later, she got the death penalty. Holy smokes. This girl got the death penalty and never said a word during trial, I think. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. I told people, nobody believed me. They're like, she's not going to be able to appeal because she didn't object to anything. You don't have to object to a single thing. The court system is set up. Once they give you the death penalty, there's automatic appeals that take place. And that'll be, the appeals process doesn't even look at the guilt or innocence. The first appeals process is going to look to see if she got a fair trial. And unfortunately, I don't know if she got a fair trial, because it might be not fair on her own part. It's not like somebody it's not like somebody said or somebody tried to keep her from getting a fair trial. The question will be whether or not somebody can be given the death penalty if they didn't say a word during their trial. It's crazy. I should probably just pull those up and just do a marathon. We should rewatch all of that stuff. I should download all those videos, that trial, put it together, and just do a marathon commentary. Because I only watched a few. First of all, I only looked into this after I was talking to Jay about it, and I think Aaron, and I'll give Aaron a little shout out because she doesn't like when I don't say her name. So this girl starved her, I think her 10-year-old, which I have an 11-year-old, I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old who's about to be 11. And I'm not 100% sure on how much my kids weigh, but they don't weigh no 35 pounds. And I think this this lady starved her baby, and then she refused counsel. She said she wanted to represent herself. She had this, I guess, an attitude of, I'm the smartest woman in the room, yet she didn't object to anything, even to the point where I believe, from what I read, that even the people, the prosecuting attorneys, were pleading with her to object to something or to have her people object, and then even to the point where the public defender said, listen, okay, she doesn't want our help, but when we get to sentencing, when we get to the actual sentencing portion, whether or not she wants our help or not, you have to let us help her. And I don't even know if they even got up and argued she was leaving it all in God's hands. Well, I guess God wants a meeting with her. Is the only thing. If she stood up there and said, I'm leaving this in God's hands, Jamie, and then all of a sudden she got the death penalty, I guess. But see, the problem is now is she probably just got 20 years. Like, she basically going to get 20 years of death row, where she'll be on death row for 20 years before they even put her to death, which 20 years on death row could be better than 20 years in general population or going into life in prison, because a lot of times on death row, it's not that they give you special treatment, it's that they try to make sure that they don't do anything that may extend appeals, that may change the outcome. They try to handle you pretty, but and then on the flip side of it is that you could be on 23-hour lockdown or 23. But a lot of times death row inmates get some different privileges than regular inmates. So I don't know. It's freaking. I mean, I understand representing yourself in a broke system, and this is showing how broke the system is. If a woman can be convicted of death and not utter a word in court, and no one stand up and be able to defend her because she said, I don't want anyone to defend her, well, then you have to look at the process and go, is the process broke? But she's set for death on June 7th through the 14th, 2019. There's no way. Not a chance. Not a chance in the world she'll be put to death this year. It's going to be a 10-year process. If they filed an appeal, it's already started. The appeals, I don't even know if you can waive your appeals. I don't even think you can. The only way you can, you know what she should have done, if she wasn't going to say anything and she was just going to sit back and let the courts decide, she probably. Do I see my name here? Yeah, Aaron, I said your name. What are you going to do about it? No, there's no way that there's no way she'll go to 11 alive. No appeals. No, I think she's already got the appeals. I think as soon as they give the sentence of death, there's an automatic appeals process that takes place, whether or not she wants it to take place. I don't think you can waive your appeals unless you make a plea deal. And so it always takes a while to get a trial because they wanted to see if she was fit to stand trial. When someone commits crimes like that, the first thing is, okay, is this person competent? You know, the guy who shot up the Planned Parenthood here in Colorado Springs a few years back? That guy's from down in Hartselle, Colorado, which is just about 30 minutes west of, or about 20 minutes west of Patrick's place in Florissant. And maybe 30 minutes. That guy has not been found fit to even see trial yet. And so he's just been sitting in like a mental ward of a I got Athens, Georgia calling in. I don't know who this is. You're live with Dad with a Phone.
Hi, it's me. It's Erin.
What are you doing, Erin? You going to give us an update on this case?
Yes, I will.
Well,
I literally left the room and I came back and I saw, LOL, Erin.
Yeah, we were making fun of you.
You were making fun of me?
Yeah, you're going to have to go back and watch the full video to see all the stuff I said bad about you.
Awesome. I love it.
Well, tell us, give us the update on this case that happened.
Okay, so the most up-to-date information is that she refused counsel to represent her even in the death penalty phase. The court-appointed attorneys, however, those court-appointed attorneys have already filed an appeal for the death penalty, and also it has been mentioned that there are other organizations that will most likely file for an appeal, organizations, I believe, that are like against the death penalty and things of that nature. However, my understanding, and I'm not a legal expert, is that she herself has no grounds for an appeal because she never made any objections during the trial. The judge tried many, many times to explain to her that she should retain counsel. She refused counsel. Prosecution was able to make the argument that she was actively participating in the trial. One example they gave when they were going through all of the evidence before they took it back to the jury room was that she noticed that the lighter was missing. So she was actively participating in the case by saying, "No, sir, Your Honor," pretty much. That's about it. But she actively, very many times, refused the assistance of counsel. So she herself, my understanding is, does not have the ability to appeal. However, the court-appointed attorneys that she has rejected help from they went ahead and already filed an appeal, and there will possibly be some organizations that will file an appeal. However, the Georgia Supreme Court already brought this case because she didn't want to have representation, and they didn't even hear the case. So I don't even know that it can go to the Supreme Court since the Georgia courts didn't even hear the case.
It'll be interesting because I don't think just because she didn't object to anything that she won't have an appeal. She couldn't file an appeals. Now, I doubt she will file an appeals herself just because it's you have to have the actual wherewithal to write these appeals motions up, which I don't think she will probably do. But I don't think just because she didn't object through anything in court, that doesn't give that's not like an automatic waiver of your appeals process. You have an automatic appeals process that takes place in any death penalty case, and that's what they're doing right now. I think it was almost like an automatic that the court-appointed attorneys filed an appeal. Everyone's saying that they've set her death. Is this rumor that they've set her death date for June 7th through the 11th?
Yes. The judge said that he was required to do it within a certain time period. So he went ahead and scheduled it to be within that date range.
Interesting. So it'll be interesting to see, because if that, let's just say by some fluke chance, this is Georgia, but when's the last time Georgia killed someone?
Pretty recently. I believe there's somebody that is set to be killed this year.
But how long has that person been on death row, I wonder?
That I don't know, but I do know that Georgia is currently considering getting rid of the death penalty.
Interesting. So what will be interesting is, since the appeal was filed, if they're considering abolishing the death penalty in Georgia, she may just end up with life in prison, unless they get her killed before that whole process. But somebody keeps saying, they keep saying June 7th through the 14th of 2019. I would bet $500 to anybody that says she doesn't go to death before the next 10 years. But I think that's just an automatic. The government doesn't like to put people to death, even though they use it. But there's not even Texas. Texas kills more people than anyone, and they got an express lane to the death penalty, and it still could take you 20 years to get there. So.
I think that the difference is, since she chose to represent herself, so she doesn't have the, appeals of,
Well, that's not true. Just because you represent yourself, you don't waive your right to appeals. That's not, because the representation of yourself, you have all the same legal rights as if you obtain legal counsel. As a matter of fact, she could obtain legal counsel now, and they could, that new legal counsel could then just start putting in appeals for her. So I don't know where these rumors, unless the judge said it unless she waived her right to the appeals process. That only normally happens when you make a plea deal. Like when you make a plea deal, part of the plea deal, the judge says if you make this plea deal, you will not have a right to the appeals. But I don't know where people are getting the idea that just because she represented herself, she doesn't have, or because she didn't make objections during the court hearing, because you could let the whole system play out, and the appeals process is part of the legal system. So I just don't see how people think that that's a waived right, unless she said it from the courtroom, unless it was written into the documents where she waived her rights to appeals. It'll be interesting why people think that. But I don't know why you think that, or why you've said that, or I don't know why. Because if she waived her right to appeal, then the attorneys wouldn't even be able to appeal, because they have to be acting on her behalf. And it's interesting that since she refused counsel, that they're even able to appeal if she refused their counsel, which is weird. So that's more weird to me than anything. So
yeah, they were referred to as standby.
Yeah, standby counsel.
Right. So even though she multiple times said, I don't want you to represent me, they still, in this stage, have already filed an appeal.
Yeah, so, which is pretty normal. And like you said, those other organizations that are against the death penalty will jump up. This is actually probably a really good case in the appeals process, because they're not going to argue innocence or guilt. They're going to argue, did this lady get a fair trial? Did they do anything to violate her rights? Even if she didn't object. That's the thing. Like, they're going to go back through that process of the court, and if they say, "Oh, that's illegal," the state should have never been able to say that out loud, that's grounds for appeal. If the evidence or any evidence or anything was mishandled in the process, that she didn't catch, like if they allowed evidence into the courtroom that maybe shouldn't have been brought into the courtroom, that's a grounds for appeal. And so it'll be interesting. I'll have to go back and watch this because everybody is saying she was just pretty much quiet. She answered the judges yes sir, no sir, but that was about it.
Well, but when evidence was introduced, she was asked each time, do you approve? And she, yes, Your Honor, I don't object to this being admitted.
No, yeah, exactly. Right? But just because she objected doesn't mean that evidence, or didn't object, I should say, just because she didn't object, that's not going to matter as when it comes to the appeals process, because the judge is going to look at the appeals process as the attorneys and the appeals court is going to look, okay, even though she didn't object, that is obviously not legal to do, or something like that. Now, it's interesting because the judge, and I hear, and I only know this because of you guys and comments that have been made, is that even the state was kind of like arguing for her, or like even would say stuff like, you probably need to talk to someone, or you might not let us say this or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so that's weird to me. This whole scenario seems weird. So
yeah, the state said, okay, you're not giving an opening statement now, but you can give one at some point if you would like. And she's like, oh, no thanks.
Did she give a closing statement?
No.
It'll be interesting. It seems like now, like, again, I think I said this before. I think I said it to Jay. I was like, this is either the dumbest thing you could ever do, or at some point it's going to be the smartest thing you ever did. Like, we'll see how long she stays alive. If they gave her the death penalty and they've already put an appeals in, well, then I can pretty much guarantee that June date won't get met, because the appeals process is just going to take some time. And so it'll be interesting. It'll be real interesting. Or they may just brush their hands and be like, yep, this lady's crazy. Let her go. But see, they can't say that either, right? They can't say she's crazy because then they're just going to have to say, nope, she had a fair trial even though she only said a few words. So
yeah, it's been interesting because it has baffled every expert that I have watched. Nobody can figure out what her strategy was. And I mean, she had a smug ass grin that a lot of people got quite annoyed with, that she did not have on her face when she got the death penalty. But
well, yeah, Jay just said in chat, I think if anything, this is going to work in her favor. I kind of feel that way because at any point, she could, if, let's say that she is in some kind of crazy state. Like any logical person is going to sit back and go, she's not acting logical. Like, this isn't a logical way to address a court or a way to go through the court system. But then we look at the crime and we go, well, obviously she's not a logical person, starving her child, this kind of thing. So in my mind, any attorney would be able to stand up and say, listen, judge, I know you gave her all the time, or I know this judge gave her all the benefit. They tried and tried, but she still did. We need to reevaluate this. We need to reevaluate what just happened, because if we put this lady to death and then we look and we set a standard for this, it could be just crazy outcome. No way they try, convict, and put her to death. And when did it took a while to get to trial. How long did it take? 2 years to get to trial?
No, this happened in 2013.
Oh, so it's been 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 7 years. Oh, this is craziness. So she's been in county jail for 7 years and just been sitting in the county jail. which is crazy in and of itself, because I think that's probably the smartest 7 years she ever did, was sit in the county jail 6 years ago or whatever. Somebody says 6 years. Wow.
There's been some argument that she has some frontal lobe brain damage, and so they're trying to determine if she was competent for trial and capable of representing herself, and that's why it took so long.
Yeah, they definitely had to do they probably did a fit for trial evaluation to make sure she was fit to stand trial. Like the guy who did I was just started to talk about that when you called in, the guy who committed the Planned Parenthood shooting here in Colorado, down in Colorado Springs. He has actually been found not fit to go to trial yet. And so, like, he's been sitting in jail. I don't know if that happened 2 years ago or a year ago, but he's been sitting in jail and has actually he's gone to court a few times and has been found not fit to go to trial. And so, yeah, she was definitely proven fit to go to trial if they had a trial. But the question will be, after the trial, there's going to be some experts that look at this and go, we got to figure this out before we just kill her, So it'll be interesting to see. That it's a crazy it's a crazy scenario, because
yeah, it's been interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah. So, well, what do you think? If you were the one sitting back, have you watched all the trial and everything?
Yes.
So if you were the judge that had to allow this to happen, what would your answer be?
I would say, based on the amount of times that she said she did not want help from counsel, and the fact that she had 2 biological children that she took wonderful care of, and listening to the testimony of what she did to this child, I'm kind of a person who doesn't always know how I feel about the death penalty, but this woman absolutely is a sick and disgusting individual, and I have no problem with her being put to death in June. I mean, she had a smug look on her face. It seemed like she might have been trying to take advantage of the system and, getting one of the jurors to feel sorry for her or something. But she made it very clear. The judge asked her repeatedly. The judge said to her, "You do understand these people want to put you to death?" And she still said, "Yes, I understand. I don't want representation."
That's some cojones, don't you think? Like, that's like, it's one thing to pretend like this sounds almost like a movie, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think if you watch it and you watch her and you watch the smug look on her face and the defiance she has, you honestly, is not even a situation where you kind of think, well, okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Where a lot of times I probably would. In this situation, and the way that she acts, it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah. Jay, we're going to have to schedule a watch party and watch this thing, because Jay just said we just need to watch the whole trial now. How long did the whole trial take? Did they do it over a week?
It was 3 or 4 days.
Jeez. It's nuts. It's so crazy. Oh, man. I don't know. And was her family in the courtroom while all this was going down?
Oh, yeah, they testified.
Against her or for her?
She didn't call a witness, and she didn't cross-examine anybody.
That is so crazy. I just don't understand the idea of it. Unless she was just crazy. Like, in my mind, if someone were to just tell me this lady starved her kid Then she went to trial with no attorney. Then she didn't object to anything. She didn't call any witnesses. Got sentenced to death. Didn't object. Anything like that. I would just go, oh, well, she's a crazy lady. But yet the court found her sane enough to go to court and go to trial. So I don't know which is crazier. What is this? What is the standard of sanity is the question, I guess.
Well, she doesn't seem... I mean, she's a college-educated woman. Yes, sir, Your Honor. No, sir. I mean, she's actively participating.
Well, she's actively given a yes, sir, no, sir, right? What other words did she use or anything did she say? Did she say she didn't understand anything?
No, she did. When they were going through the evidence, she told the DA that she didn't see the lighter in with the evidence that was going back.
They said, somebody in chat says when they showed pictures of, I guess, the child burned, she never even looked up or never looked once.
Yes, Jamie, she was a preschool teacher, but she lost her job because she was arrested for beating Imani when she was 6 years old with a belt, to the point where she was picked up from school and taken to the police department, covered head to toe with bruises and whatnot. So she was no longer allowed to be a teacher and was on probation, which is why the father never called 911 when she was being burnt and scalded. And the father referred to the beatings with the belt buckle as spanking. The stepmother would say, "No, we can't take her to the doctor because then I'll go back to jail and we'll lose our other two children," which were biological children. So she was the stepdaughter. She raised the other two children, fed them, took care of them, completely normal looking lives with pictures and everything.
So this is almost like a Cinderella story.
Right.
In a sense.
Right.
Wow.
College degree in child and family development, I believe.
It's crazy. Ruger said it's the craziest trial I've ever watched.
It really is. And I mean, it's fast because there's no cross-examination, no objections, no sidebars.
It's confusing. I mean, but I understand now understanding a little bit more that this happened 2013, that this happened, back in, I don't know. That's craziness.
And the father did testify as well. He pled to life with no parole. He was working 2 full-time jobs because it was his daughter's fault that she couldn't work.
So this was the biological father.
Yes.
And he got life in prison and without a chance of parole or with chance of parole?
Without a chance of parole. He pled.
So just life in prison with no chance of parole. Wow. And then the other 2 daughters, I guess, are now going into the system, or are they with the with family members?
I'm not sure.
Or the other 2
a lot
children?
of people had asked that. I don't know what happened. I don't know if anybody else knows, but I'm not sure.
Jeez, it's crazy. Well, thank you, Aaron, for the update. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope, that's it.
Well, thank you for the update, and tks for the call.
Absolutely.
All right.
Have a lovely day.
You too. Bye-bye. I missed the call from 503. If you want to give me a call, 503, you can call back now. I'm off with Aaron. If you got any more, if you can talk about anything. Man, that's just the nuts. We're going to have to definitely go watch it. Some people are saying it's kind of a boring trial because of the lack of cross-examination and stuff. But I'm more interested how this thing plays out. If they can allow someone to if you can convict someone who doesn't even defend themselves, you know, it'd be interesting to see if there's any other cases or precedents set that way. The police and social services failed this child. She ran away from the police, just returned her to the evil stepmother. Yeah, so like I guess what people are saying, and I had heard this, that the child had run away a few times. So absolutely, probably the case. I would not use the word boring at all. Aaron said. Somebody's sending me Facebook messages about another case. The Libby, and is it the Libby and Abby case? New details learned about the murder of... No, not that one. So I guess some... Oh, these are... Huh? Interesting. I have to look into that one too. So many things out there. So many cases. Kelsey's case, really the only update we have on Kelsey's case is the 24th. We're going to court on the 24th. We know that they didn't find anything in the dump. We know that they're obviously following the story of KK because they went and searched the dump and spent a lot of money searching the dump. And so on the 24th, the 24th, so it's Friday the 24th, which is also a day that I'm going to be hosting a comedy show, or I get to MC the comedy show. I'm not hosting it, but I get to MC it. So if you're coming to court, you should just stay the night and go to the comedy show that evening. The one went, that one went really quick. Timothy McVeigh is the only one I can think of. Most don't refuse appeals. Yeah. But Jay, she's talking about the Timothy McVeigh case, the Oklahoma City bombing case. But if you're Jay, then the Timothy McVeigh or the Oklahoma City bombing case is filled with conspiracy. So it would make sense that they would rush one along like that. But this one doesn't seem like it is filled with conspiracy more than it's filled with a woman who, in my mind, isn't fit. Anyone who refuses counsel, I shouldn't say anyone who refuses counsel, because there are people like Ted Bundy who represented himself, who also had a little bit of a law degree. I'm actually representing myself on May 6th. So if you want to go to court with me on May 6th, I have to go for a seatbelt ticket where I was wearing my seatbelt and have video to prove it. So it'll be interesting. They didn't write me a ticket for speeding. They didn't write me a ticket they pulled me over for seatbelt and cracked windshield. according to the state highway patrolman. But I'm going to defend myself. But I hopefully they're not going to try to give me the death penalty. I'm teasing, by the way. I'm not teasing about going to court. I'm teasing about that, kind of. So I can understand why people represent themselves in like a seatbelt ticket case. I do not understand why they would represent themselves in a murder death row case. There are probably a number of lawyers in Georgia who want to get some political clout that would have represented you pro bono in a death penalty case, whether they were to won or not, just to get the publicity. She turned down a 30-year plea. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And they found this woman fit to see trial? I don't understand that. Okay, so the Kelsey Schilling case is actually in trial, and they have closed the preliminary hearing on that trial for the boyfriend. I do believe the boyfriend took a plea deal in that case, and they closed the hearing on that, which again doesn't make sense to me because the U.S. Constitution guarantees us an open courtroom. But now, because of social media, because of media, because of this stuff, they have found some way that they can just close the courtroom to the public. And we don't know what happens in the courtroom. But then yet on cases like this one, where they open the court, we all sit back and watch this lady not say one word, sentence her to death. It's craziness. They would have probably been better off just giving her a life sentence. And then very few people there might not have been any appeals. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Anybody want to take my $500 bet? They don't take her life this year, or not? Let me know. We'll put that money in escrow. Maybe. But then why not just plead guilty and take that 30-year plea, Julie? If you know you've been caught, if you know everybody, and the only thing, again, this goes back to the whole case in and of itself. What drives a person to commit a crime like this? And really, it's that whole self-preservation. She's lost her complete sense of self-preservation. The same sense that keeps us driving down the road divided by a thin yellow line of paint that doesn't keep us from running into people. The same sense that this idea that we can live in harmony in villages and cities and towns, it's this self-preservation act. And once you lose that self-preservation, though, you'll commit some crazy acts. You'll commit some crazy crimes. And it sounds to me, suicide by jury, Aaron said. That is a statement in which I haven't heard before. Suicide by cop, but suicide by jury. She would leave it in God's hands. Well, unfortunately, she got to stand that second judgment if that's what she's saying, right? If you actually believe that you're going to leave it in God's hands, if you actually believe that you're going to if you actually believe in God and you say that, your perception of God might be a little skewed. So depending on where you draw that faith conclusion in a God, I would be very, very careful about saying I'm going to leave it in God's hands, because that second judgment is going to be a little bit more difficult. It's probably going to be a little bit more. See, God doesn't have a appeals process according to his own self. So you don't get an appeals process with the judgment of God. Well, of course they find God after the crimes. If anybody's been sentenced to death and they don't find God, it's because their heart is calloused or hardened. God is a sense of relief, not only no matter if God exists, right? Whether you believe God exists or not, the idea that you find God, that you find this peace on earth because you believe that you've been somehow forgiven, but depending on what you subscribe to when it comes to God. So I know that we are just we're just a little bit above the apes. You know what I'm saying? So the apes, they kill their own children sometimes, and there's animals out there that do things that are very wicked to their kids. But we are, some would say, we're just above those apes, and we kill our own children, we starve our children, we commit murders and bury them and put them in oil tankers and all this craziness. This is just these are acts that are just above the ape. Right? The apes, a silverback gorilla will kill babies just so he doesn't lose his spot in line, And so when you measure humans and animals, there's very little difference between us, even though we think we're civilized because we've created neighborhoods and villages and homes and societies, and we can fly planes over the ocean. But the truth is, we're just a little bit above the animals. And so I find it interesting that that criminals find Jesus or find God or find Mohammed or Allah or whatever they turn to. Man, when you go to death, though, it's understandable. Again, I think I'm in the agreement when it comes, like Jay said. I think this is going to end up in her favor. Like if a normal person goes through a normal trial with a good lawyer and they object to things and they fight this case and they have witnesses and all this stuff, if a normal person does it, it could take years for them to get to death row. All of a sudden, she's done something that no one's done before. She's represented, not that no one's ever represented themselves, but she's represented herself, but she really didn't represent herself. She sat back and let the system just play out with zero objections, with zero conversation to the discrepancy. So even though she represented herself, she really didn't represent herself. And that's something that's written into the Constitution that says you will have a fair and a trial. Well, if you don't represent yourself, even though you are representing yourself, if you actually don't do it, it'll be interesting to see if they have any sort of legal ground to go, she didn't get a fair trial because she really didn't represent herself. Detroit, Michigan's calling. You're live with Dad with a Phone.
You're like a fucking egghead.
Uh-oh. We got a prank caller. And he hung up. How you that's the best you got? You can call and cuss me, but then you hang up? You can't even stay on the line? Come on. That's the best you got. Got Detroit, Michigan in the house. Yep, that's why she didn't say a word. What's MC saying? Dang, it didn't work for me. What didn't work? I don't know what didn't work. The milkman again. The milkman called. But he didn't even... I like a good prank caller. I like a good one. But if you can't prank call me with more than one sentence, how ridiculous is that? Should we call him back? Let's see if he spoofed his phone number. I'm going to call this one back. I like a prank call back. Let's call him back. But it looks like a spoof number. I bet he don't answer. If anybody wants to call this guy, it's 313-777-6884. So that's the number that just called me, but really did.
Now subscriber you were trying to reach is not available. Please leave your message after the tone.
Oh, here he calls. He's calling back now. What are you doing, little princess? You having fun, princess? You playing games, princess? Oh, little princess. Oh, princess. You little princess. That's all you got, princess? Oh, that's all you got, little princess? Oh, princess. He called me back from the same number. So, his number, if you want to give this guy a call, is 1-313-777-6884. So, however that text subscriber number is, I don't need to start. I just called him back and he answered. So, or I called and he didn't answer, and then we're calling him again. We'll see if he answers. I don't know. I'm going to keep calling him now, and then somebody on here will really keep calling him, and they'll put his number on some list, and then he'll have to get his, hey, Princess, you okay, Princess? Oh, that's the best you got, Princess? I hope this isn't your real number. I hope this isn't your real number. Oh, you little princess. Oh, this is the British princess guy. This is the milkman. He doesn't get to go live on the show, but I get to take his time up. Look at you. That's the best you got. Are you sitting in a little basement? Are you sitting in a little basement? Oh, you're the one calling me. You're the one calling me, princess. Oh no! Now you're gonna get phone calls from everybody in the world because we just put your number online. So now you'll have to change it. Oh, it's a spoof number, so you'll continue to answer it, little princess. Good for you. Good. You should change it, man. You're the weirdo calling me up. Oh, he loves it now. I don't want to give him the speakerphone. Y'all want to hear him on speaker? We'll call him one more time. See if he answers. I bet he don't answer now.
What's yours, Rico?
You there, princess?
I mean, you're such a pedo.
Well, you're watching. Thanks for watching and engaging and giving me a call. I love when people call in. You got what's going on, princess? That's the best you got? Come on. Really? Oh. You still there? You having fun? You sitting in your little basement? You got your little basement shower going? Best you got, huh? Look at it. He can't even talk now. He's speechless. He's been rendered speechless. But I'll give you some daddy time. You let me know if you need some daddy time. You call daddy up anytime you want, little big boy. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's the best they got. I'll send his channel to you. Yeah, send me his channel. Princess probably got a couple of subscribers we can go get. We'll get some of his subscribers. We'll say, Princess called daddy up. He needed to talk with daddy. He needed a counseling session with daddy. Uh-oh. He's probably a 600-pound. Yep, pretty much. He's Patrick's brother. Oh, let's see. Here he calls back. Hey, princess, how you doing? Is that the best you got, princess? Is that really? You gonna hang up again? Is that all you got? Yeah. Yeah, that's the best you got. Dude, you what are you? Are you like a 600-pound white man living in your mama's basement? Are you living in your mama's basement? Oh, you hung up. Why are you hanging up on me, bro? Why you got to hang up on me? I think he's part of BOYT. I don't know who that is. But Michelle, sometimes I let him go on speaker, and sometimes I don't like letting him go on speaker. Sometimes I'll let him go on speaker. Oh, he's the bottom of YouTube. Yeah, I don't mind him calling, though. That's why I give my number out. I wish I could get me one of them prank.com numbers. See, now watch. Now I could just decline him and just let him call back 100 times. If I wanted to block his little spoof number, I could block his spoof number, but that would just be too easy, right? So watch this. Now let's see if this works. So we'll make him call from a different number. We're going to make him call from a different number because now I just gave him the block. So we're going to make him go spoof another number and call the cowboy, the milkman. Bobby Jensen, what's going on with Gypsy's case? Very little. We did call the CPS Colorado Springs Police Department up this morning. At the beginning of this call, we didn't get an answer, but we did leave a message. I believe right now that CPS Colorado Springs Police is treating this probably more like a missing persons case. I don't know how long. I don't know how long they're going to treat this case that way, and or they're going to change it or give us a press conference to let us know that they're looking at it in a different way. So it'll just be one of those things where we get to see exactly how they're doing it. So right now they're not giving us any updates. They do have a prayer vigil scheduled for May 25th. It was going to be on May 5th, but I think they moved it back a couple of weeks just to give people time, the weather to clear up a little bit. Although the sun is coming out now, and when I started this live video, it was literally white outside. The ground was covered in snow. Now all of a sudden everything's melting quickly, so it's going to probably end up to be a pretty nice day. Oh, we got a new one. Maybe calling. Let's see if this is... Hello, you're live with Dad with a phone.
Stream. I was browsing YouTube on live and I came by your stream.
Nice. Well, thanks for calling in. Do you know what this stream's all about?
No, you can probably fill me in.
So you're just watching. You just literally stop by and watch. Where are you calling from?
I'm from the Daytona Beach area. I know the area codes. It's where I used to live, but I actually just moved to Daytona Beach, Florida.
That's a nice, pretty area.
Yeah, really in the Ormond Beach area, and it's just look for a different, change of scenery, and it's all right here. I mean, you eat your weirdos, but it's hard to stay away from that anywhere,
Yeah, y'all got crazy stuff going down in Florida all the time. So we talk a lot of true crime on this. I can't even speak. True crime on this channel, but we'll talk about anything. So, you got any questions?
Yeah, what's you know what? I'm actually doing law school over here, and they I completely when I moved over here, I completely going to college here and everything, but
are you have you been watching this case out of Georgia where this mother's been representing herself in trial?
No, tell me a bit about that.
So a mother that starved her child, her stepchild, has just been sentenced to death after 1 week in trial where she didn't say a word. She didn't object to anything. She didn't object to any witnesses. She didn't call any witnesses. So basically went through a death row trial. She's been in county jail for 6 years. They finally get her into trial. They find her fit to see trial. She does a week-long trial or 4-day-long trial with zero objections. She didn't object to anything, and she didn't even do an opening statement. She didn't do a closing statement, and they sentenced her to death. So now they've already her court-appointed representation. Even though she said, "I don't want any court-appointed representation. I don't want them to represent me," they have already filed an appeals process. But we've been talking about either this was the dumbest thing a lady could do, or it could have jacked the system so much that it ends up tying up an appeals court because she literally didn't defend herself. Yeah, she didn't defend herself. So as someone in law school, what do you think?
I mean, it's definitely interesting, and I mean, I know the whole common consensus is like, think these people. I mean, it is possible, like you said, that she is doing this on purpose. So it does get caught up in an appeals court. Just denying a public defender, and then on top of that, staying completely silent about the whole issue. I think it's definitely interesting. I mean, to me, I hope it doesn't get stuck up there. I hope, they just call her out on her bluff, and they, starving her child and everything. And, I don't know. It's sad to hear cases like that. And that's in Georgia. Let me see if I can find this up here. It's in Georgia, you said?
Yeah. Somebody in chat can put up her name. I don't know her name right off the top of my head, but somebody right here in the next few seconds will put up her name in chat. But so surfing YouTube, you come across my channel and then just decide to give me a call, huh?
Yeah. And hey, I actually found the case. Yeah, Gwinnett mom was starving toddler year before death.
Yeah.
Jesus. You know what? If you and she looks a little weird too.
It's the Tiffany Moss case. Yeah, that's who you're looking for. It'll be interesting. So you're in law school now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if are you in like a distance ed, or are you actually going to classes with like other people in law school?
Oh, no, I'm going to classes. I can't do the whole, I prefer an in-class scenario. 100%. I mean, although I will admit, just being in the class to me is a lot more, like you can absorb a lot more information. You're a lot more immersed in it, I guess you could say. And they even brought up you don't get the interaction that you do outside of classes. For instance, we had my professor. She's lovely. She's a bit goofy. I'm a bit more used to like by the book professors. And she's a bit goofy. In fact, they gave us a riddle or something today. I'm still trying to wonder what it is, just because it's really fits me there. So I just want to figure it out. But she said it makes up 13%, but it's still 50%.
I don't know. Tell me what makes up that riddle. That was better. He wanted to say the N-word, but y'all see how I took him off speakerphone? He finally got the N-word in, guys. Finally got the N-word in. I don't know if you heard it, but I did take him off speaker right before it came. He's not. That was a better prank call. That was better. I'll give you that. That was a better prank caller. But I knew you were a prank caller about 3 seconds into the phone call. So who pranked who there? I mean, you figure it out. Yeah, I know you can't hear him because I took him off speaker right when I decided he was going to go for the try to drop the N-word. But that's the best That's the best he got. I mean, it was better than the other guy. Let me put it this way. That was a better prank call than the first one I got today, but he still didn't slide past Dad. That's the funny thing. I was in control of that conversation the whole time. That's what makes a good prank call, is when you're in control of the situation. So who pranked who in that one? Y'all saw that happen right there. Oh, everybody felt it from the... First of all, let's put it this way. If you call in and you're a male, you're either one of my 1%ers or you're a prank call. So you're busted right off the top, unless you're real smart. But outsmarting your dad is hard to do. And he needed some daddy time. That boy, this little boy who just called in, he probably didn't have a daddy growing up. And it's hard for guys that don't have a daddy growing up, you know. I used to be the king of prank calls. I could prank call anybody. I'd prank call cops. I'd prank call my dad. I'd prank call everybody trying to fool them, you know. That was a good one. He almost got there. But I think it's beautiful. I think I like these guys because he tried hard. I was just surfing YouTube and I found you, brah. I'm in Florida, Daytona, but I know the area code's different because I just moved here, you know. Fun stuff. Just fun. It's kind of fun on a Tuesday. You got to admit, when they call and they try to play along, and I'm in law school, and my law teacher gave me a riddle. Right when he said that, I was like, uh-oh, here comes the N-word. Let's listen. Oh, there it is. Yeah. And then he hung up immediately. Why not start laughing? Why not be like, oh, that was a good prank call? Come on. Oh, I love it, though. I really do. I really like that. I like that kind of stuff. It's kind of good. Yeah. Oh, now we got one from the Netherlands. I got a call from the Netherlands. It's probably a prank call, but we'll see. Are you calling me from the Netherlands? Yeah, what do you got? What? How did I know? Because I know everything. I'm daddy. Oh yeah, I have discussions about just about anything. What do you want to talk about today? Oh yeah, your microphone is very clear. Yeah. No, you're super clear on the microphone right now. What do you want to say? What do you want to say to everybody? Oh, you better talk to your dad. I just hung up on him. We had another browser. He was browsing YouTube and decided to call Dad. He wanted to find out what my channel was all about. So just taking phone calls today. You know, it's kind of fun. Again, if a male caller calls me and he says he's browsing YouTube, you got to come up with a new one. Your buddy just used that. Your buddy just used that one. Who is the missing her stepmom? I know. I love it. But Jay, you know I like it. You actually know I like it, right? Because one, they're watching, right? They're watching, which means they're giving me a good they're giving me a good viewership, which means they're watching to try to see if they can hear themselves. They want to say the N-word out loud. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say an N-word. Oh, wait, here we go. I have an amazing stepmother that has no relevance to anything. Tiffany Moss is evil, and unfortunately, other people have had bad experiences with all types of parents. Oh, yes. Parenting. This is an interesting scenario because I had a discussion with Aaron, like, whose responsibility are the children? Are they the responsibility of the state? Are they the responsibility of the family? You know? Does the state have the ability to tell me, oh, see, now we got a real caller. I know they're giving you a bad name, Bobby, but we know you're not we know you're not a pranker.
Oh my God, dude, you got me rolling my ass off.
Bobby, keep going. Tell me what you think.
I was just at a doctor's appointment. I'm driving back, and I'm on the highway, and every time I start laughing, I hit those rumble strips on the side.
Don't get pulled over. Don't get pulled over, and you'll be like, I was listening to Dad with a phone. I'm sorry.
I know, it's crazy. That dude, he must have like little Bermuda shorts on with socks like pulled up to his knees, sitting in his mother's basement. And his mother's calling him for lunch.
Oh yeah, he's like, I gotta go. My mom's calling me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Everybody knows if you're a guy and you're not one of us, dude, you're a troll.
Oh no, like you try to give them the benefit, and like as long as they want to talk like normal, ask some questions, be like, hey, yeah, I'm in law school and I was watching your YouTube channel. You know, if you want to act normal, I'm totally going to give you a voice, you know. But as soon as I feel like, oh, I see what's coming, I'm going to take you off speakerphone. I'm going to talk to you still. I'm not going to hang up on you. I did hang up on one guy today just because I felt like I should hang up on him. But no, it's beautiful. And sometimes these are fun shows. I didn't have anything to talk about. So if you want to prank call me and watch my show and give me some viewership, I'll answer your phone call.
Right, that's the best part because, you know, ultimately they want to get their punchline in. So it's great that you let them on the air and let them give them the line, and then you cut them right before the punchline.
I love it. It's almost fun. And the one guy, the guy who was from, wasn't the law school guy. Maybe it was the law school guy, or even, yeah, it was the law school guy or whoever. I was like, what if this is a real call? Like, what if he just happened upon my YouTube channel? I didn't ever really think that, but for just a second, I was like, we'll let this guy have a voice. But it is fun. I'm glad it's entertaining for you.
Oh man, it's good. I'm cracking up, dude. I'm literally. I almost drove off the freaking road.
I love it. What do you got going on? You working today? You off today? What's going on?
I'm off today. I'm off Tuesdays and Saturdays. So.
Gotcha.
I had to go up to the VA to my doctor's appointment and stuff. So.
Well, man, Bobby, thanks for listening. You got any questions? Have you been watching this case out of Georgia at all?
A little bit here and there, but like I think somebody said before, it's so boring because there's not any, there's no back and forth.
Yeah, there's no argument. She's just like agreeing by silence.
Right, and I agree with Jay too that this can only work in her favor because at some point, first of all, it's either it's suicide by trial, or it's going to work in her favor because at any moment, if she doesn't say anything, she could say, or a lawyer could stand up for her and say, "Hey, she just woke up."
Oh,
do it all over again.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was thinking. Like, if she played this out correctly, she may be able to get a good lawyer that could come in and say, well, you guys found her fit to trial, but she literally just woke up out of her psychosis. She just woke up out of this alternate reality, or whatever, and she wasn't fit to sing trial. Nevertheless, she wasn't fit to represent herself. And so I feel like they could write an appeals up that would have a strong case based on what everyone else in the world has seen, even if she's pretended to be aware of what's going on, even if she was able to answer the judge. I feel like there's a lawyer out there that has some sort of argument that could say, no, this lady was never once fit to see trials. So
yeah, I just finished watching one. I know it's an older one. I think he just got sentenced. I don't know if you know about it. It's one out of Florida. This Norman Raja case where this off-duty cop. Well, I guess he was on duty, but he was in a plain clothes and an unmarked car. The guy was a black musician, and he broke down on the side of the road in Florida, like on a highway in the middle of the night on the way back from a gig, and this cop pulled up on him from the opposite. He came up the off-ramp the opposite way, and he was on the line with he was actually on the line with AAA or somebody when the cop approached him and shot him for no reason. It was pretty wild.
Did the cop go to trial?
Yeah, he got convicted. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Good. What was his argument? What was his reasoning?
I guess he was just I guess he profiled them, because you can hear him pull up, and you can hear him because you can hear the whole thing through the AAA operator,
Yeah.
And you can hear him. I guess the cop asked him what, and you can hear the guy in the background going, "No, I'm cool, everything's okay." And then all of a sudden, you just hear shots ring out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Well, the driver had a gun for protection. Everybody down in Florida's got a concealed carry permit.
Yeah, but but he had a legal gun.
Right. And this guy, this guy didn't know he was a cop. It was he was in an unmarked car. He's in plain clothes.
And
you know what I mean? And
did he identify himself?
I didn't hear. All you hear is tell him, "Show me your hands, show me your hands." But I didn't hear anything on the tape that said he was a cop.
Oh yeah, man. What did they end up sentencing that cop to? Do you know?
I think he got 25 years.
Yeah, 25 years in jail for a cop though ain't gonna be easy. Because they'll find out if you know about it, those inmates will find out about it, and he'll either be in a protective custody. Man, it's sickening. In Denver they released a statistic that in the last 4 years, police shootings have gone up. Like you're 3 times more likely to get shot today than you were by a police officer than you were 4 years ago in Denver. And so there's going to have to be, and it's happening all over the country. I mean, they just convicted a police officer in Vail, Colorado, and people hate when you talk bad about cops. They really do. Everybody wants to back the blue, or lawyers and attorneys and judges, and everybody wants to be on the side of the soldier, the police officer. People don't like me because I talk bad about the cops or whatever, but I have a great respect for what they do. Especially the older police officers who've been in law enforcement more than a couple of years. But we find ourselves now where we have a police force that are trained killers. And I don't mean they're trained killers to kill us, but this is how they got their training. They went into the military, went overseas, kicked in doors over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and then came back here, and we gave them a badge. And it's become a real crazy thing. And so... I know a lot. Yeah,
I know a lot of my friends too. That I was in a different unit, and when they came back, they ended up going into these private security jobs, go back overseas because they really, they have a hard time, getting back into society.
Yeah, and in a private security company overseas, it's not the same rules, over here, and so it's an interesting thing. I don't know the solution. I really don't know the solution in a sense of there is this. The police are no longer protect and serve us. It's almost like they're obviously here to police us. It's not a protect and serve. They're policing every move anyone makes, even to the point. Listen, I have court records right now. There are police officers watching my video right now. They're watching this video, and I have a court record that I'll share with you guys as soon as my stuff is over with you. But I have a court record where police officers have been watching Facebook videos and watching YouTube videos to try to use things that I say on a YouTube or a Facebook against me in other crimes. And so like it's funny because in the same county that they're doing this, they just let KK walk for murder. Like a woman murdered or was a part of a murder down the street from me, but yet they let her walk loose, but yet they're actively. And I'm not, I wish I was making this shit up, but it's something I'm having to deal with in my own life. And they literally are trying to use videos that I've made against me. That's the kind of police work they're doing. They could care less that a woman came down the street and helped kill someone, and they let that person walk. And this is just small town mountain cops. When you talk about big city cops that don't really have to answer to anyone, it turns into a scary thing. So,
well, you know what it is too, that these younger guys now, they're getting higher up in rank. So the older gentlemen, the senior guys like your dad and guys like that, it's hard for them to go and take these guys under their wing anymore because they get treated bad.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those things that if you are a police officer and you go against other police officers, even if the other police officer blatantly commits open crimes, assaults, murder, extortion, what I don't understand is how people think police officers are holier than thou when priests have been molesting children for years. Like if the priests are molesting kids, and they believe in God and they believe in what they're or whatever, and they're molesting children and they're covering up priests, and you believe police officers, or not you, but people just generally say, oh yeah, police officers are good people. No, a lot of times they're power hungry people. A lot of times they're, PTSD stricken veterans that should be getting help. And in other words, they're putting guns in their hands and telling them to, again, it's not every cop, but what I will tell you is there's corruption in every police station. And when good cops don't stand up and do something, then that police station becomes a corrupt police station. And that's the scary thing, is that men are so scared to stand up and do the right thing. They're so scared to say anything. Even like your neighbor, like if something's going wrong with, like, even a starving child, nobody stood up and said anything about the starving child. How can a family starve a child for years and then the child dies and everybody's like, oh yeah, maybe we knew about something? And the cops even let this kid ran away and the cops took him back to the evil Cinderella stepmother, and so it's hard, it's tough.
Believe me, I get the brotherhood, I was in the military.
Yep.
The brotherhood, that was the best part of my life. But when there comes a point in time where, it comes to a right and a wrong situation, and believe me, the hardest thing in my life was to say, I need to go to the VA and get some help. That was the hardest day of my life, the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life. But at some point, you got to do what's right. You can't turn a blind eye to people getting taken advantage of.
Well, and we've put our soldiers in a position where we've put them into places and they've seen things that really no human should ever see. Like war is one of those things where if you could avoid it at all costs, it's better for your brain, you're better for your mind. It'll put you, if you go into some and see things like people see in war, you're gonna need help. It's not because you're not normal, it's because you are normal. That's what gives me, like, if people go off to war and see the things of war and they come back and they're like, oh, I'm fine, I'm normal, that scares me. There's a problem there. Yeah. And that's where, like, I just don't understand the logic behind not having a program set up for our soldiers that come back from a war zone, and whether they know they need help or not, it's not normal for the things they've been seeing for however many years they've been in. They need to come back, and it shouldn't be mental illness or I shouldn't say mental illness. It should just be post-traumatic stress syndrome, a syndrome that happens when you see traumatic stuff, right? Or something that happens when you see something, that the human brain shouldn't have to comprehend. It wasn't intended to. We're not apes. We're not. As much as I say we're close to apes, and apes kill their own children sometimes, we're not apes. And so we're not built with this insensitive. We have something that's within us that has compassion and love, and it's not an instinct. It's something that has to be built. And so when soldiers come back, I think it should be mandatory that they get treatment, not because something's wrong with them, but because of what they've just gone through, And so, and Aaron is saying we need resources for soldiers, parents, teachers, first responders. I think that's the problem with today's society, is that people think that if you say you have a problem, like you said, it took me years to go get help, whatever the issue was, it took me years to do that. It's because we've created this stigma and this thing.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't know how it is now, but when I got out, nobody told me, hey, here's all the information in case you see something, start having a problem. They don't do that. If you look okay, they just say, okay, thanks for your service. See you later.
Yeah, and I think that's what's caused an issue. Same thing with police officers. Police officers are put into situations every day that they are. I got a call from the United Kingdom. I'm not going to answer it, Bobby, because it's probably it's probably our buddy. But yeah, police officers are put into stressful situations where most police officers struggle with PTSD on a daily basis, but yet they have to put on this face. They have to, keep control, but they're put into stressful situations that normal people shouldn't be put in. That doesn't give them an excuse, right? What it does do is it tells us we should be helping treat those police officers that are suffering from PTSD, which most police officers suffer from some sort of PTSD. That doesn't mean they can't handle their job. It just means they should have some sort of systems in place to help them deal with these things, so that when they do go out and deal with the public, they don't flash back to Afghanistan when they're kicking doors in, or when they do pull over, when they do stop to maybe help somebody on the side of a road, their first thought isn't, this person wants to kill me, because that's normally not the case. There are cases where people that they pull over, yes, they're bad people, and they will want, and I'm not saying they shouldn't take precautions to protect themselves, but they should never go into the mindset of, in America, I'm pulling someone over and this person wants to kill me, and
with intimidation.
Yeah, and with intimidation, and they have to understand that. Yeah, but how do we fix it? Man, I wish there was a way a YouTuber could fix it. I wish there was a way we could say something, do something to change it. My fear is that the system is so broke. Is it fixable,
Yeah.
Well, craziness, Bobby, craziness.
I know. All right, you have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon. Say hello to the family for me.
I will. I'll say hello. Thanks, Bobby. We'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye. One of the good ones out there, folks. One of the good ones. I missed the call from the UK. Oh, perfect. I need to tell someone. Woo! Somebody from Denver, Colorado calling. Wonder if they spoofed a number. Yeah, you're live with Dad with a phone.
Hey, Dad. I just heard that last caller. I came in really late.
Bobby?
But Bobby, yeah. And that kind of triggered a memory of mine and a situation I was in that involved a vet. And gosh, I struggled with this one because I feel a lot of compassion for vets, and it just, but at the same time, I was really triggered by it. So what happened was I was coming up behind this big flashy Audi, and I could tell he was going to stop at the yellow light, and I was like, I don't have time for this. I'm late for a funeral. So I blew past him on the right-hand side, which was, probably not a very nice driving skill that I exhibited. But he followed me. He followed me all the way to my parents' house. And when he got there, he blocked the driveway, and he pulled out his wallet, and he flashed this badge-like thing at me. It wasn't a badge, but he claimed that he was a police officer and that I run a red light, and he was going to get me in trouble for this, and he wanted to write me a ticket. And I was like, come on, bitch, just do it. Get the ticket written, because we're leaving, and you're blocking our driveway, and I will fuck up your Audi if you don't get the hell off my property. So, sorry, I got a little excited there. But anyway, he was, being very bravado about it and telling me that I was in trouble and he was going to have me arrested. And I was like, just do it. I don't have time for your stuff right now. So the next day I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, this guy, he's not a cop, but he followed me to my parents' house. I have a responsibility to report this. So I called the sheriff and reported this guy, and they said, well, so he was impersonating a police officer. And I said, yeah, and I think he's a Vietnam vet, because he showed me something that looked like wings in his wallet. And he happened to look like Jake Jabs. So, you know who Jake Jabs is? Your local guy, you know who that guy is, right?
I don't know who Jake Jabs is.
Okay, so American Furniture Warehouse is owned by a gentleman by the name of Jake Jabs, and he used to do these commercials with live tigers and lions.
Oh, yeah. I remember that guy.
Yeah. So he looked like him, and I told the sheriff, and so they hauled him in. They figured out who he was, and my
Oh, y'all just lost that. That wasn't a prank call, by the way. I didn't cut them off on purpose. I had a technical difficulty. So I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that last call. Yes, I understand. She is still talking. She was still talking. And I think that it's okay. She was a real person, by the way. I know, no sound. We're back. Everybody's back. That phone call got messed up a little bit, but that wasn't a prank call. That was a real person that called in. She obviously knew some local information. I know the information she was talking about. But she was just saying that, there are people out there that have issues that they need to have help with. And so what had happened was Bobby triggered that story about this time that she got chased by a veteran back to her house. And people get crazy all the time. I still don't have sound. What can I do? I think everyone should have sound now. I don't know if you have sound, but leave and come back. Oh, you're talking to them. Tell Michelle C. Michelle, she wanted me to tell you that she wasn't pranking. It was just, not everybody's a prank call. And not everybody, I don't treat anybody like a prank call, actually. Unless I just know. Sometimes you just know. Yeah. So, it's some crazy, thank you. Yeah, got sound. Good. Yeah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, my USB thing just dropped and my sound went dead right in the middle of that phone call. I know people were thinking, what are you talking? Taking calls about DWAP? No, I was taking calls. Well, we were talking about anything. We talked about a little bit of everything today. We had some prank calls earlier. We've been talking about PTSD and veterans. We've been talking about PTSD and cops. I guess there was a cop that just got sentenced to 25 years, or a cop in Florida that got sentenced to 25 years for shooting a guy with a phone. I said those incidents happen because these police officers go off to war. Most of our police officers today are veterans. And it's not that veterans can't make good police officers. It just they need different training, and there's a lack of training. Do you know the case of the girl that hired someone off Craigslist to shot her? She also had a fatal level of heroin in her system. It's like her name is Natalie Bollinger from Broomfield, Colorado. That's the girl? Oh my gosh. I don't know that case, but I will definitely look into it. She tried to hire someone on Craigslist to kill her, and then I haven't had time to look at that. Is that a new thing? That's crazy. What was that all about? Where are you going? Oh, good. You upset or what? No. Was she upset? No. Oh, she gave you them evil eyes. I haven't had a time to look up that case. It's been pretty wild. Hey, I'm going to take a quick break because my wife just got here. I'm going to go eat some lunch. And then I think I'm going to come back and start a watch party on this case. I know Jay is for Justice wanted to do a planned, organized show, but I think I'm going to go find these videos of this trial that just took place, the Tiffany Moss? Tiffany Moss case, where this girl just got sentenced to death. And so, oh, look at that. I got some blue sage. Is that what they call blue sage? Let me see. Let me see some blue sage. Blue sage. This is hand-picked sage out of Colorado that it's supposed to have some kind of... It's more for prosperity. It's prosperity sage. So, it's a different kind of sage. We got 2 sages here. I should sell sage. Yeah, yes, let's watch. I gathered that and J equal organized. Yeah, we're gonna do. I'm gonna start a watch party here in just a little bit on YouTube, watching the trial of some stuff. So I just saged y'all to get rid of all that bad juju that we've been talking about.
Anything blocking you from being productive?
Go be productive. Go be productive, and come back in a little bit with us, and we'll start this trial.
You want a breakfast sandwich?
I would love a breakfast sandwich. Or, yeah. Yeah, breakfast sandwich. Come here, Ellis. Come say goodbye to everybody.
Can I have the cups, please?
Yep, I'm coming right back. I'll bring them in there. 2 seconds. Say, thanks everybody for joining.
Thanks for anybody. Thanks for
Did you
everybody
see she
to
chewed
join.
my freaking? I'm pissed.
Ruined the chair this morning.
I'm gonna shoot a puppy today.
The puppy
I'm
lost
just.
her recliner
She freaking chewed up Dad's recliner. Muffins did.
A muffin did.
You tell everyone. Say subscribe, hit like,
Subscribe, hit like.
and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
I love you. I love you, stinker. Anyway, y'all better do what Ella said, because if y'all don't, it's just terrible. Y'all won't even be listening to a little girl. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Y'all have fun. We'll be